Hello and welcome to another episode of the DC Alliance podcast. Of course, I am your host Clay, and with me every single week is my good bud Travis. Travis, how you doing this week?
Pretty good, Clay. School's back in full swing, but randomly the government of Canada gave every province a holiday for Thursday, Reconciliation Day. I'm not
See,
exactly
I
it's a
I
new
have
holiday, but
I was looking at my because I get a new class every single month. The second week of October has a holiday in it for some reason, and I don't know why. I was
that
even looking at my calendar. I don't see anything,
that's
but they're giving
Canadian
us.
Thanksgiving.
uh, I'm cool with taking that day off. I
But
mean,
I
I'm
don't
not Canadian,
understand
but
why you would get why you wouldn't get the main Thanksgiving off.
yeah, I mean, no, I have like the whole week of Thanksgiving off, thankfully.
Okay.
Uh, but I have
Aha, I see what you did there.
I have the second week of October off for some reason. And I'm just like, well, the Friday of the second week of October. I'm just like,
Okay.
okay, I'm cool with that. But uh, I'm I'm pretty excited about this next class. I actually get to start on my portfolio. This is when I'm really starting to like, hey, this is stuff that companies are legitimately going to be looking at once I start graduating and stuff like that. So getting getting down to the nitty gritty when it comes to the stuff that I actually want to do. So I'm pretty excited about that. This week though, I will say before we go into plugs, oh my gosh, we had very like small news, but holy crap, Doom Patrol snuck up on me, and I was like, holy crap, I need to watch all of this stuff. I actually did not even get finished with it until about 2 hours ago. So I'm glad that I got everything in there. We have thoughts on Titans. Of course, there's also Stargirl. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. Of course, we are a part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. And there goes my dog. Man, I thought I was going to go the whole thing. He was actually acting pretty well. He was chill. He was quiet for the entire day. It's probably my wife. She probably walked in just now. Anyway, so Geek Ultimate Alliance Network, where we have, I always get this wrong, 7 shows, 6 days a week, 8 shows, 7 days a week, 6 days a week.
Eight
It's
shows 6 days a week.
8 shows, 6 days a week. There we go. So, of course, this week for Monday, World's Finest True Believers was this week. Had, oh gosh,
Jordan.
Jordan with, I can't remember the freaking book. It was Tokyo Ghost, is
Yeah.
what it was. That's right. Uh, really, really fun episode. I just got finished listening to it right before I left for work. And next week, I will say, um, I will say this: Tony went the entire, almost a whole year, almost an entire year in freaking Ranger Alliance. I didn't know that he was getting married this month until last week.
Oh,
He is getting married. He's basically taking all of October off, but that's okay. With a little bit of editing magic, he's still going to be on Ranger Alliance the entire month. So, next episode, we're going to be looking after season 2 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, episodes 4, 5, and 6. I went ahead and watched episode 4 right before I jumped on here. Really, really fun stuff. Little shenanigans, but it's fun. Then, of course, we are always live on Monday nights 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Central. Make sure to always go to the live chat because we will be doing our Titans finale review slash giveaway for volume 1 and 2 of Earth One of Titans. So,
yeah. You suffered through the season just like us. You will be rewarded.
yes,
Our pals from Marvel Alliance will be coming on, and I think we're going to throw caution to the wind, and that will be our first topic of the evening too.
yes,
The
we will
Titans
go
thing.
ahead and just throw that out there so that way we don't have our brethren suffering all night.
Yeah.
So make sure that you are subscribed to the Geek First YouTube channel. Make sure to press the bell to get notifications whenever we go live. Tuesday, of course, the audio for the DC Alliance goes live on podcasts. And on Wednesday, is superhero discussions. I listened to the first episode of you talking about Young Justice,
Yes.
the two-parter opening for season one. You said you're only going to be doing like your favorite
Well,
episodes.
just pick and choose because of where the show is starting in mid-October. The next two episodes will be episodes 9 and 10. The one where Miss Martian, they had the training scenario that John Jones tried to control, but Miss Martian kind of throws it haywire. One of my
Oh
very
yeah.
favorite episodes. And I followed it up with a Red Arrow guarding over
Oh,
Lex
I
Luthor.
love that episode
Yes.
where who I think it's doesn't Coriander help out with that one in the very beginning?
I'm not sure. It's been a little while since I've seen that episode, but I know he guards over Lex Luthor and he's trying to do peace treaty talks with
Yeah.
somebody. So I
Really,
really
really
enjoy
fun
that. But it's a
episode.
lot of stuff that when you remember watching it back in season one, before you find out the payoff of Red Arrow,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, okay. When you go back, being like, oh, this adds up a lot more. Oh, I should have been paying more attention here. So I'm
Yeah.
excited to look at that, and I can't wait for season 4 to come out.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to it. Again, we're gonna have a well, Titans will end at that point, but we will still have a jam-packed October with both Doom Patrol and Young Justice, and the I'm sure near the end of Stargirl as well.
How many
So,
chapters is that book, Clay and Stargirl?
oh gosh, I think it's still 13. We're
Yeah.
only on what 8, 9. We
Chapter
still have
7 was last week.
was chapter 7. Oh my gosh, I thought we were further along. Anyway, on Wednesday, of course, this week, Katie and I are going to be going live on the Geekverse YouTube channel talking about Star Wars Visions. We were unable to do it last week due to some circumstances, but everything is good now, and we are going to go live talking about all of the episodes for Star Wars Visions, talking about our favorite ones. I'm really excited to hear what exactly Katie thought about these episodes because I know she listened or she watched both subbed and dubbed. I've only watched dub so far. I'm going to watch sub on some of my favorite ones, not necessarily all of them. Um, but yeah, that'll be super exciting. I know that we in the future, uh, I've already talked about wanting to jump on for the Star Wars High Republic manga review that came out a while back. We are finally going to be getting into that because I'm always on there for High Republic stuff. So, looking forward to that as well. The audio for that drops on Thursday, where a walk through the multiverse also drops. They go every other week or so. Well, actually, Star Wars is going to weekly, so that will be uh, weekly on Thursdays and Wednesdays when we go live. And then I believe, oh man, what was I don't remember exactly which episode Joe was planning to do next. I know he's been doing a lot of catching up on The Walking Dead. He just made a comment about it on our GOA chat. Good
I
luck,
feel
buddy.
for him, man. I feel for him. I checked out of that show a couple seasons ago. I think when
I just
I think
couldn't do
when
it.
Rick gave up, I think I gave up as well. I think I was like, okay, yeah, you're right, Rick. It's time to check out now. It's
Yeah,
time. It's
yeah,
8
sounds
seasons.
about
Yeah.
right. So, on Friday, well, Thursday nights though is when Marvel Alliance.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! I'm going to jump in here. We have some programming notes. Marvel Alliance will be going live Wednesday night
Oh,
this
that
week
is right because
because
this
on
week
Friday
is
night is the Venom review.
that's right. I completely forgot about it, and I'm actually a part of it. So I do apologize, Chris
He
and
has
Brent.
his ticket booked and everything, listeners. Like he's already confirmed to us. I have my ticket, and
Yeah, I am ready to go. I even have it in my planner. You guys saw that I plan everything. Like I plan everything Sunday night from Monday all the way until next Sunday. And I even have Venom right there. So Wednesday night they will be talking about, of course, the
what
what
if?
if episode and any news that comes about. I know that you will probably be on that episode as well. The episode is I don't know what the title is, but people are calling it like Infinite Vision or something like that.
If you
Looks
watched the end of the last episode, listeners, where it was Party Thor, you saw basically instead of it being an end credit scene, it was an end of episode scene that definitely lends into the next episode for sure.
yeah. Yeah, really excited about that one as well. But on Friday night, we are going to go live on the Geek First YouTube channel again for the Venom review. I'm actually going to be watching it Thursday afternoon. I'm going to be watching it at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. So really, really early. I'll
Same,
probably be
same.
out by like 5:30, just because of how long the actual movie is. So I don't know yet if I am going to even consider a second viewing because I'm still kind of iffy on the whole movie as a whole.
Can I
So
be honest with you, Clay? The only reason I'm watching this movie, the only reason this
is
is
to
going to
be on
sound
the
terrible,
review.
no, is to see if this connects to the MCU.
I
Or to see if this connects to Morbius or anything like the connections.
well, did you
I
did you
thought the
see
first one
did
was
you see that
okay,
tweet that
but
Jared Leto posted that we
I
shared it in the
know.
GUA chat? He posted something about like, oh, I have to take a bite out of this or something like that, like referencing like a vampire thing. And I was like, ah, cheeky, whatever.
We're going
But
to slow our ever since that Monsters universe, and they were trying to oh, we're making these 8 movies, and the first one fizzled out. I hold my role on this, especially when it's not MCU, until like I actually see the fruits, a little bit of the fruits of the labor, because they could cancel this whole slate right after Morbius. We'll never see the light of day of any other movies if this is not successful.
I will stick to my guns and just say that I think Tom Holland at the end of Far From Home is not going to be in the MCU universe by the
Ooh,
end of
that's
that
a
movie.
very interesting
That's
take.
that's what I think. I mean, there's been theories out there. As soon as like saw what Far From Home was going to ultimately be, I was like, yeah, that's probably happening. And we've heard all. Well, this isn't a Marvel show,
This is the
so
Marvel Alliance corner of DC
so
DC
let's
lies
move
today.
on. But of course, those are all of our shows with Slice of Film being on Sundays. I do believe my episode is coming up pretty soon. I haven't seen it come up on the GUA feed yet, but I'm pretty sure Katie has said mine is coming up fairly soon. You will be, well, not really surprised because it is continuing a movie franchise that I've already been on there for. So looking forward to that. We do have a Patreon as well. We are listener and ad supported network. If you don't want to listen to the ads, of course, you can always join our Patreon. $1 tier is just to say thank you. Doesn't really do anything other than that. But the $5 tier, of course, gives you exclusive access to anything and everything in our Patreon, early access to shows. Everybody in our Ronin chat has read The Last Ronin #4. We are probably going to start planning on reviewing that one fairly soon. I have a hot take, and I don't think I'm going to be alone on this hot take. But if you want to know more about that, go check out our Patreon. All right. So that is that. Let's go ahead. And you know what? Do you
Let's do
think
our
we could
rapid.
go through this? Do you
Let's
think
do
we
our
could go
rapid
through?
fire news. That's why I title it
All right.
rapid
Let's go
fire
through
news, listener.
these
I'm going to
news.
hit Clay with these topics. We're going to talk about them for quick 1 to 2 minutes, then we're going to move on because most of these are either just minor stories or we don't have any true confirmation, just more scooper type stuff. So I'm going to hit that part right away. And Clay, there's rumors we got from two scoopers, Caleb Williams and RPK, that there are more Batman spin-offs in development. Caleb Williams says a Riddler spinoff, and RBK says there's two spinoffs from the movie, two more, not including the uh, Gotham City show. I don't know what
Whatever
it's
it's going to
actually
be called,
titled.
because it
Yeah,
still doesn't have a title yet. Yeah.
yeah. So, but yeah, so we got two extra shows. One of them, Caleb Williams says, is the Riddler. What do you think the other one could be? Are you excited? Do you want to explore more with the Riddler just from the literally 10 seconds maybe that we saw from him in the trailer?
Well, really quick, the one thing that I keep seeing with everybody when these shows are being announced is I haven't even seen the movie yet. How do I know I'm going to like this character? Here's the deal with all of that. Batman has seemingly been confirmed to not be a Batman that kills. I will take that with a grain of salt because technically technically, I'm going to go ahead and say technically, every Batman on screen has killed. So, if this is the one true Batman that doesn't kill, hooray for him. But I will take it into a grain of salt until I see the entire movie. If that is the case, just like in the comics, these characters come and go in Batman adventures all the time. So we may see an origin, we may see after the fact, we may see how they are, planning to do a big supervillain thing in Arkham. Like we don't know. We don't know how these things are going to be turning out. I'm waiting to see the movie and then I will decide whether I'm enthusiastic about watching these shows. So far, I have just been wanting good content that is seemingly connected to something, I feel like, because I'm not gonna lie, Disney Plus has been spoiling me with all of their Marvel shows. Visions is not technically canon, but it's
They
still
came in and said
great.
that pretty quick, didn't they?
You know, but I because I can watch Titans, I can watch Doom Patrol, I can watch Stargirl, I can watch Superman and Lois, and those are shows that are good on their own. Ex Titans, but I kind of want to see what HBO Max and Matt Reeves can do in a somewhat connected universe or one whole universe with this Batman, with the Batman, Robert Pattinson's Batman, and I can't remember the actor, Dano for the Riddler,
Yeah, Paul
and
Dano.
Colin Farrell for the Penguin. I want to see what they can do with them. So I am excited to see how it connects. But as far as me being enthusiastic about the actual show, I'm going to hold off.
I'm kind of in your camp too, Clay. I think it could be interesting. They could do something relatively different where we could get miniseries like HBO Max miniseries on all the main villains from the Batman movie, which that could be, or the main ones that were shown. We could get a Penguin and Riddler shows, maybe. And then after the second Batman movie, maybe we get a Catwoman and Two Face show, and then after the third Batman movie, maybe we get a Joker show and a Mister Freeze show or something. I think there's a lot of possibilities here, and like you said, I want to see some more connecting stuff. You will get to see that in Stargirl soon enough. You wait and see. Promotional pictures had dropped that
Yeah,
will connect some sort of stuff.
we did I did see that in our chat. Um I noticed that the character that you're saying that it has a little bit, well, I guess I was going to say his hair has changed, but there's a reason for that and I'm not going to say anymore.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, I'm excited for this. I think you gotta ride it with Matt Reeves, and if the we may get more of these shows or not. All depends on the response. But like you said, I really enjoyed the Disney Plus show, so I'm a fan of this as this keeps going. I would love to see more of these villains because it looks like Matt Reeves has a really good grasp on uh, just the villains as a whole, what he wants to do with them. And I guess keeping in the Batman theme, Natalie Holt, Loki from Loki, will compose the score for HBO Max Batgirl movie, which is moving along at a pretty rapid pace. Clay, does this excite you? Did you enjoy the score from Loki?
I absolutely love the score for Loki. The opening theme, just the Loki theme altogether, is absolutely gorgeous. Uh, you know, I can only take the, I can't remember exactly what he said, but Taylor over at Geekverse, the in the reviews of Loki, they were gushing over the album as well. It's on Spotify. I listen to it every once in a while on my playlist that I created. Really, really great. I'm really looking forward to see what Natalie does. I remember, I think it was Ray from DCTV Squadcast. He actually interviewed the composer for the Harley Quinn show,
Yes.
and he was talking about how like there's a certain aesthetic that you use for Batman themes. I'm really interested to see if Natalie kind of takes those themes into account for the Batgirl theme. So really looking forward to it. I don't think we will see or hear anything from that uh, as far as the composer goes at Fandom. I am hoping that we get some sort of behind the scenes look at Batgirl, though.
I think we'll get just some funny people behind the scenes, just like some nothing from the actual like show or movie, sorry, but
Yeah.
just some crazy fun and maybe them talking about how excited they are to do the movie. I think this is great. Just another get for DC here, and like you, I really enjoyed everything musically,
Oh, well,
audio about
really
Loki. I thought it
quick,
was
since we're
fantastic.
on HBO Max, we didn't talk about this last week, and I think it only came on this week. The news about Keaton and Supergirl, the Supergirl series. Did we not talk about that last week
Supergirl series?
on HBO Max? Did you not know
I've never
this?
seen that. Never seen anything about it.
Yeah, so you have been in the dark with you being like full blown into the into school. Sasha Kaye Supergirl is getting an HBO Max
Is
series.
that 100% confirmed, or is it?
It has been announced. I'm not entirely sure if it was like officially announced, but there was news of like Keaton showing up.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it's not. It's not. That's not confirmed then, because I wouldn't say they confirmed that it's a TV show until Supergirl ends, and that's how I would do it anyway. Sorry, because
It's
yeah,
the
it's rumored.
multiverse,
That's what it was.
Travis.
It's
It's the
rumored. So yeah,
multiverse.
okay. It's rumored to be getting a. That's
Yeah.
why. That's why I
Yeah.
didn't pay any attention to it, because I didn't see it as confirmed. It was in our chat. I can remember it now, but it was still. I need actual confirmation on that, because they're all over the place, Clay, when it comes to uh, what could be a movie, what could be a TV show. Like
Well, I
there's just
think I because from what the article has stated is that it was kind of planning on being a movie and then it didn't necessarily work out completely as a movie, so they went ahead and went to series. All I want, if, and this is a big if, I'm not gonna go all in like you with Amel and Arrow, but
oh,
I'm just saying, if I could wish one thing into existence, I want there to be a Sasha Kaye, uh, and or I already forgot Leslie Grace, right?
yeah.
Sasha Kaye, Leslie Grace, World's Finest, Batgirl, Supergirl, anything on HBO Max, whether it be a movie or a show, one of the two.
Okay, yeah, that would be fantastic. I would love that. I like I said, I'd like to see more of a confirmation, because I don't know what they're doing with HBO Max right now. It would be pretty cool if
Well,
they
we don't
put
know what's
Sasha
happening with the
Kai's.
Flash.
Yeah.
There's so many rumors of it being like
So
the
I think
start of a reboot or whatever.
anything
So
further than the Flash, we'll have to wait and
yeah.
see how it affects it. But I'm on their day one, obviously, Clay, to watch this. I think will be fantastic, especially on HBO Max. Yeah, I did see that, but yeah, I forgot about it completely. We have a trio of casting for the Aquaman movie. Uh, Yanni Zhao, apologies if I pronounced that, butchered it, will be playing Stingray. India Moore will be playing Karshan, a shark with intelligence and telepathic powers. And Vincent Reagan will be playing Atlan, the ancient ruler of Atlantis, sorry, that he visits multiple times. It sees a statue with the giant thing put up. He's been referenced in both Aquaman and Justice League, I think.
Yeah, he was in Zack Snyder's Justice League. He was in the history lesson in Aquaman. So seeing him in the Flash, whether it be a flashback again or
Well, you mean for
somehow,
Aquaman,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
not the Flash, yeah.
Oh, did I say Flash?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, for Aquaman. Yeah. But I'm excited about this. More casting means more character development on all sides. Really interested in this intelligent telepathic shark. So that'll be
Not gonna
fun.
lie, I wish it was King Shark from Suicide Squad. Really wish it was. I love that character. I thought it would be hilarious, but he doesn't seem as evil enough to maybe be maybe be challenging.
It honestly, his without sounding like an insult, like King Shark in Suicide Squad is like 2 steps away from being Jabberjaw from Cartoon Network. Like he's that close. That
I
close.
yeah, I can agree with you there. I really can. So, Clay, that wraps up all the rapid fire news that I had for you today.
Well, not entirely
Oh
because
no,
we
I
got
missed
the
3 other things.
Sandman
Yes.
on Netflix. We got the teaser, which I will have to agree a little bit with one of my favorite writers that is currently on Power Rangers. He said it pretty well. He owns majority of the Sandman comics. He is listening to the audio dramas, and now he gets to watch it on Netflix. But it's all adapting the same story. There's not really a whole lot moving forward with the character. And I think one of the main reasons is I don't think DC likes to push anything newer with the character unless Neil Gaiman is attached to it. Because they know that that's what sells. If Neil Gaiman isn't necessarily attached to the dreaming himself, it won't, sell as well as Neil Gaiman writing it would. So I don't know how, they're gonna do this. I'm really excited to see it on HBO Max. I remember when this was first being developed, when freaking Joseph Gordon-Levitt was still attached to be the Dreaming. But I'm super excited. I want to see how this is gonna be told. I am currently, I think, on chapter or episode whatever. I think it's like 13 or 14 on Act Two for the audio drama. It's been really, really good so far. I think I should be able to finish that whole thing up by the end of the week. So, really exciting stuff there. Now, you have probably seen this. I will be completely honest. I have not seen a single trailer
Ooh.
for Injustice yet.
Ooh.
Now, the reason why, though, I am not a huge fan of the artistic style of the Mortal Kombat movies, which is what this is based. It's the same studio, it's the
I
same
have a
art style.
question before you keep talking. Are you more of a fan of the animated stuff we got in Man of Tomorrow and JSA, or the stuff?
If I had to
Yeah,
choose the two,
yeah.
if I had to choose the two out of the two, I would choose the one from like Man of Tomorrow, Long
Even
Halloween.
though you know that the Injustice one is just a one-off and not a full continuation of, like, that's what the
No,
whole.
yeah, like if
Okay,
it's the boxy art style
okay.
that the Mortal Kombat uses. It's I don't know, it's very odd to me. I kind of wish that it was a little bit more smooth, and for some reason it just doesn't look that way to me. But that's only from the stills that I have seen. I have not seen an actual trailer for this at all.
I
Now,
really enjoy it, Clay, I gotta say, but
I'm
it's
still going to
not much
watch
different.
it. I'm still going to watch the movie, but I think if I don't watch any trailers and watch it blind, if anything surprises me, it'll be genuine. And it's not like, oh, I already saw this in a trailer or whatever.
I will give them a bit of credit. They are giving nothing away, really. Nothing that you wouldn't know really already. I from the original trailer they aired was a minute and 11. This Red Band trailer was a minute and 50 or 43. There's not much extra in that trailer. I noticed a couple things, including a nice little shot of somebody fighting somebody in the Fortress of Solitude. Uh, but it's a great story, and I've heard those exact comments about the animation style. I think if people like it or hate it, I really enjoy it. I enjoyed both Mortal Kombat movies, and I thought just for that tone, and same thing with Injustice, because Injustice is a pretty graphic book in terms of some of the ends that some of the heroes and villains meet. I think that this style kind of lends better to that than the new 52 style or I'm sorry, the rebirth style that we have right now. But
Would you call
I'm
it rebirth? I wouldn't. I mean, because technically the stories aren't necessarily rebirth. They're like pre New
I'm
52.
just saying it in terms of Flash resetting,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and
Okay.
we have a rebirth of the timeline. That's how I just put it in my head, and the way that
Okay.
the
Okay. Okay.
animation was really New 52 ish for the previous world. That's
Hmm.
just how I put it in my head.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited for this. There's not much new about this, but this will be reviewed on Superhero Discussions. Don't you worry.
Nice.
I'm really excited about that. That's about it. I think that's it. Now this is the second time I said that, but
No, it is, and it's just in time for our first ad break. So, again, listeners, we do not choose these ads. Hopefully, these ads won't repeat too much right now. There was like a whole string of like I think 3 weeks straight. I was listening to Geekverse, not GOA, but Geekverse, where the same ad repeated like 9 times before it went back to the actual episode that I was listening to. Oh my gosh, I almost turned the damn thing off. But hopefully, guys, it will not do this to you. We will be right back. And we are back. So, Travis, where do you want to start? Stargirl, Titans, Doom Patrol?
I think we should kick it off with what's behind us there in the banner, Doom Patrol, because
All
I really
right.
enjoyed that, Clay. I want to talk about it. It got better and better for me. I thought the first episode was just okay, kind of wrapping things up from the previous season.
Yep.
Second episode was good, funny, bit zany. The crazy aliens, I loved those characters, especially how they eventually gave up their vengeance mission. That was really funny, or well, one of them did. And then my favorite of the three was the Undead Patrol. I don't know if I like the Undead Boys enough for us to get a spin-off. We'll talk about that.
I kind of have to be in the opposite boat there.
Ooh, I didn't know. I see how I said I wasn't sure. I maybe need to see more, but just comparative to when we got the Doom Patrol in that Titans episode, I didn't love the Dead Boys as much as I loved the Doom Patrol in that Titans episode.
Yeah.
But who knows how their show will pan out. Obviously, I'll watch. But yeah, it went like that for me in order of how much I enjoyed the episode. That went 3, 2, 1. So I still had a good time watching all three, but I
Let's
really
see
enjoyed
here.
that third episode too.
Let's see here. I think it would probably be the same. I think I like the third episode the most. And yeah, I feel like the first episode was over really quickly for me. It was just like,
Same.
oh,
And
okay.
also how they finished off. We'll get into it right now because I don't know how deep we'll go plot exactly, but what were your overall thoughts on the first episode?
It was a finale. That is the thoughts. Of course, they were still
Shut
trying
down.
to defeat
They were shut
the.
down and didn't get the 10th episode when COVID really went extreme initially. So we got to give them somewhat of a pass for that.
Oh yeah,
But
it's
yeah,
it's
felt the
I'm not.
same. Yeah.
It's not a Titans
Yeah.
mishap. It is a world pandemic mishap. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, I
Like
know. It's
it's
too funny.
it's Titans. So but yeah, what was the character's name? The
Candlestick. No,
candle
candle.
maker?
Candle
I-
maker, I think. Yeah, candle
Is
maker.
that the character name?
Candle maker. Yes, it's candle
Okay.
maker.
So they defeat quote unquote the candle maker, which is basically just like, hey,
That is one of my problems of the
we're
episode
gonna
right
we're gonna
there.
strand you here until you become my friend again.
Yeah.
And then like the next scene, they're like, oh, we're friends again. And it's just like, yeah, no. I think it would have been a little better if like we don't see them for like half the season of like season 3 and then find out like, oh, you had to wait that long to figure everything out. Um
Or
other than
make it a little bit more climactic. Like she
Yeah,
just shot the arrow, caught the arrow, and was like, yeah, we're done with this. Instead of
yeah.
maybe having him just about to kill her, and then she realized the power of her own mind and realized she can have control
But
over
like
him.
even the like post credit scene or the end credit scene or whatever, it happened so fast. Like the credits rolled for like a split second and then boom. Like there was I did have an issue with episode 1. Like now that
All
I'm
over the
really thinking
place.
about it.
All over the place.
And it's not necessarily like the fact that it was a finale, it's the pacing of the finale. Because even if I were to watch it immediately after the season 2, as it should be, I still think I would have a problem with the pacing of that entire episode. Now, from what I had heard, I think the way it was meant to be or whatever was everything with the candle maker was actually like the ending of episode 9, and then everything dealing with Jane was like episode 10 to like
And they
leave you
just
on a
combined
cliffhanger.
them into the one episode?
And they combined it into the one episode.
Because I really enjoyed the Jane part of this episode.
You know, Jane overall, because like there's even a part in uh Dead Patrol that really like just breaks my heart for Jane and what we now know who she basically is. That is just very heartwarming and sad at the same time. But we'll get there when we get there. Uh even that, because of the pacing of the show and they kind of had to cut everything. I'm sure the episode would have been a normal length episode dealing with everything with Jane, but because they had to scrunch the two episodes together, basically this whole thing with like defeating her father inside their head, it ended kind of abruptly as well. It was just like boom, we have it was basically the production knew, hey, we have to move this forward so we can move on to season 3.
Yeah, ideally, Clay, episode 9 would have been the Jane figuring out everything and like stopping, and then episode 10 would have been the Dorothy figuring out everything and stopping. But we didn't get that. We got that smushed together in this one episode. I really enjoyed the Jane part of it, like the puzzles, the her going around panicking around the underground, her giving Kay the bunny, and then
Mhm.
Kay snapping out of it, and then getting her out of it. I thought that was all good. That stuff, I really
Yeah,
enjoyed that
the
stuff.
the whole, I think the line was, "Oh, I'm supposed to protect you. It's not supposed to be the other way around."
Yeah.
It really speaks to the character of Crazy Jane, which I love how people don't call her Crazy Jane anymore. It's just
Yeah.
Jane
Just
from Doom
Jane.
Patrol. But even so, I really did enjoy, like, it's a little cliche, like how uh her father came up with all the puzzle pieces or whatever, and he was like this big giant or whatever, and then they all pushed the plane forward, or because that's the way she was trying to get into uh I forgot what they call it, the above,
Yeah,
or
the
it,
above.
and then they're in the underground, or yeah,
Underground, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so yeah, i I did enjoy those parts, but like I said, it was kind of a mess. And I think that unfortunately, just with the way the world turned out, um, I think we would have been a little bit more positive on the season 2 finale as a whole if everything would have gone, according to plan.
Oh, it's a fact, and I give him a pass for this, but I will give him some critiques. Uh, the whole ending with Dorothy and Candlemaker, thought that was super anticlimactic and very like snap finger, it's over. When you made Candlemaker one of the most menacing characters throughout the entire second season, you were like the way his voice crack went, and it really kind of tried to terrify you as a listener. And then it goes from that to you're gonna stay here till you're my friend, and that's it. So that was a little blah for me, especially how he took out all Doom Patrol, and that was it. But like I said, the Jane stuff was really good for me in this episode. I thought that was the standout for me. The Dorothy stuff was just okay. Besides that, it was like you said, the pacing was all over the place here. You got moments with Cliff and Kara. You got moments where Cliff is flipping out at Chief, but it's not really. Uh, it's a mess. It's really a mess, but you can understand why, and they really get shipwrighted by in this next episode and going forward into the third one. So
Well, how did you feel about the way the season ended with season the first, well, the season ending, the finale
yeah,
of this first episode? That
with
is Michelle Gomez's character coming up out of the ground, right?
yes,
How'd you feel about her character? Like, we don't really see her again until the one instance in episode 2, and then the very ending of episode 3.
Madame Rouge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know anything about the character, so I just thought it looked exactly like,
I also don't know anything about Madame Rouge whatsoever, but I do know Michelle Gomez. A lot of people would know her from season 12 of Doctor Who. She played the Master alongside Peter Capaldi's Doctor. Really, really great actress. I absolutely love her. So I'm really excited to see who she is as a character, what kind of conflict she's going to cause, and what kind of messes the Doom Patrol will be in moving forward. So I'm
yeah,
really
and
excited about it.
without Chief, they're really they're lost, and that's like hit home several times throughout these 3 episodes. I don't know. I'm like you. I'm right in that boat of. We'll see. I'm excited to see what she brings. But one other thing, Cyborg was sad because the Star Labs locked him out for letting Ronnie go. So yeah, we had to make a little note because that's exactly how it was thrown into the episode. So let's throw this into the review here that he was. That's how
It
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 felt to
was
me.
it was off, and I am still not a huge fan of the inclusion of Cyborg in Doom Patrol, and mainly because he he is the black sheep of the group. But it's funny because they're a group of black sheep, you know? They are a group of oddballs. He just feels very off. His problems are not as bad as these, and he's just like, "Oh, well, I should be a part of this team because I'm just as bad off?" And like I understand the problem at its core with Cyborg. He has daddy issues. Okay, I understand that. And his trauma with his father, he and it goes more into this in episode
On the
3.
patrol, yeah.
It talks more about like how like he is basically dealing with this with trying to be a hero. And this is not the group to do that with? It just doesn't fit very well. Um I would really like to be the fly on the wall with the decision of putting Cyborg into the show. Like, why did DC or HBO Max, like, I want to know who was the one that said, hey, we need Cyborg in here, you know?
Instead of Titans.
Yeah, instead of Titans, because I do feel like he would be a fun inclusion in Titans.
Oh, I think he could
Uh,
definitely benefit the Titans. I
because
don't know if
I
this
think
version,
this
but
I honestly think that Doom Patrol would be just fine with the core four, with Jane, with Robot Man, with Rita, and Negative Man. I think they would be able to hold that show together without Cyborg. Um,
I've enjoyed some Cyborg moments. Though I'm not as out on him as you in this show, but uh, it's pretty stale so far this season for me. Except the third episode, I enjoyed the conversations with his mother because it may have alluded to stuff. We'll get into that. I think that's pretty much it for the first episode, Clay. What did you think about it? Really, I thought it was just okay.
yeah, it was all right.
We're
I
not going to
mean,
tear this to pieces because of the circumstances, for sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and season or episode 2, Vacay Patrol is uh a complete it is a continuation from that first episode, and it feels very fluid. So like thankfully there was something there to like, because usually I'm like, oh man, I have to remember what happened in the finale. I'm not usually one that likes to go back and watch an entire season unless it's a show that I absolutely love. I like Doom Patrol, but with as much shows that I'm watching currently, watching an entire show or an entire season just to be like, now I'm caught up and I can remember everything. Like that sometimes gets annoying. So having the finale did help the fluidity of going into episode 2, which is a complete response to what happens to Rita with her experience with trying to get back there in theater and all of that.
and
She needs a vacation.
Chief leading leaving this key to her and not telling her what it was for and saying that
Yeah,
she had to
okay.
be the leader now.
That part, I will say, I was a little annoyed by when the phone was ringing or the alarm was dinging, whatever it was, and like she was trying to reach it. Like she was purposely trying to use her powers to reach it when she could
No,
have just walked
I don't think she
forward.
was trying to do that, Clay. What happens is when she gets stressed or when she like is overexerted, she just falls apart. Like we see that exact same thing early
It's a
later in this
response.
episode.
It's a response to her stress and her anxiety.
Yeah,
Like
it's
that
not
is
her
one
like
hundred
trying to
percent.
use her powers to do that. If she was found, she couldn't keep herself together. She was falling apart as she was trying to do that.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
I was just like,
because
it's
we see
right
that
there. You don't
again when they
have to
start.
use her powers.
Oh
You
no,
know.
that's what I was thinking too first. But we see that again when they start making fun of her and saying like, "Get away!" Like 'cause she starts falling apart in
Yeah.
the actual acting thing. Is same kind of thing, same problem that she still doesn't have mastery of her powers.
Yeah, and I will say, um, with Rita, I understand that is something that a lot of people like about her character. They need to move forward. Uh, if they keep on with that for like this entire season, and then in the beginning of season 4, I get it again, like, I will start to be upset about that. Like, you need to move forward. Like, they were moving forward in season 2, Cyborg was training her to get her more motivated, to keep
A
her,
lot of
you know
crap happened in the meantime, and now Chief is dead. So
I understand that, but, like, if you're gonna reset these characters every single season, and it's like, "Oh, we have to be a family again in order to, be able to function," like, It I don't want the same problems every single season with a different villain, you know?
I little bit. I don't think that she's just gonna
Personal
snap her
problems.
fingers and be able to like. I think this is something that isn't easy to master. Like we don't. I don't know anything really
Well,
about
no,
her.
and
Like
it speaks a lot to, like, real world problems. I understand, and I'm not saying anybody who suffers from anxiety can just be like, "Hey, I'm better." Like, I understand it completely. But for me personally, like, I do feel like I would enjoy it a little bit more if I saw more progress with her and then her evolving as a character rather than degressing every single season.
I I will disagree with you on that. I don't think we've seen her. I think we've seen her build in the first two seasons. I thought we saw her at her lowest and crappiest, and she's thoroughly gotten better and better. She's that perfect person. None of those people in this group are, and I don't think they'll ever will be. But I think she may be the best person of the four uh, now, especially with all her experiences, I don't think she's maybe Larry might be a little bit better. Sorry, Larry is kind of amazing, but I don't think Rita's as like digresses every season, like you're kind of saying there. I think she goes through some ups and downs, but I thought that by the end of last season she was doing pretty good. But now you have Chief leaving all the responsibility onto her. You had Madame Rouge show up. She don't know who the hell that is. It's pretty easy to see that stress causes her not to control her. They laid that foundation the entire last two seasons, so it's easy to see when her powers kind of fail her at this moment anyway. Hopefully, she can like get past that, but I don't know with any of these group of people if they're ever getting past any of their problems because they're none of them are really that much better off than we were when we found them in first season.
I
I think
know.
that might be part of the
And
whole thing.
do you not want them to be better?
I do, but I don't know if they can. They're not exactly like your typical superheroes or anything.
Well, I don't want them to be superheroes. I just
Yeah,
want
I'm
them
just
to be the
saying, like
characters
the
that they are.
heroes, so good people. They're not your typical good people. They're more like the Seinfeld group than they are like the Friends group. Like they're more like not great people, or they were, especially when we started the show.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I don't think Rita's a regress like got like as much as what you say there, but yeah, I guess I can see the complaint, especially if she's still struggling with her powers. I can kind of see that, but I don't know. I still think she's one of my favorite characters of the of this team.
I enjoy, like I said, I enjoy every character. Um, I think that I may like Jane and Larry more than everybody else. And then there's moments where Robot Man really surprises me, and I'm
Oh, I
just
love
like, God
Cliff.
damn, I really love that
But
character.
Diane Guerrero deserves extra clap for all the personalities and being like
Well, no,
I
and
unreal.
just
And no none of those awards that I don't pay that much attention to, but no nominations for any Emmys or if she's even entitled to that. I don't know which ones are movies and television. Oscars are one and Emmys are another. But she should be getting a nomination for something because I don't know. I enjoyed WandaVision, but you can't tell me anything that Elizabeth Olsen did in WandaVision is any better than what we've seen Diane Guerrero do in the past 2 seasons of Doom Patrol. You can't.
yeah, no,
I will
she's
not.
great.
Yeah, I will not hear any of that that talk there because she's been fantastic and she hasn't gotten any recognition. Well, as much as she deserves. I thought she was fantastic. I love. I gotta say it though. I gotta say the name Clay because I will forget it. Uh, Gar Gargoax the Decimator. Oh my god, I absolutely love this weird random character that I'd never heard of before, and I probably will never hear of again, who was employed by the Brotherhood of Evil to assassinate Rita, and I don't even understand how that even works. Uh,
I mean, I still love the fact that like this show does not talk about the fact that every single one of these characters are immortal. Like they talked about it a little bit in season 2, a little bit in regards to Chief, but not necessarily everybody else. And like it dawned on me today when I was watching it. I was like, "Oh, well like characters don't age in comic books, so maybe it's just like a satire thing that Doom Patrol is doing without like people noticing, you know?" But I because it showed like 70 years had passed at that camp or that resort or vacation spot or whatever,
yeah.
where they were waiting to see Rita, and Rita was their target. You don't really know why. They don't say specifically
The
why she
Brotherhood of
is
Evil hired him. That's all we know.
exactly, but they don't give specifics on
Yeah.
why she is the target. So finally, they see her, and he's just all like, "I don't care.
Yeah.
Like it, life has no meaning."
Well,
Like
we
I,
were
I,
given
I
a little montage a couple minutes earlier of him getting super fit up with giving the progress report, status report every day
and
for
not
I
getting a
want to say like
response.
50 years, no response, and he's just like,
Yeah,
"Yeah, screw this, I'm done with this. It's time to go party."
yeah, and I like the back and forth that him and Robot Man had. And this is why I also don't like freaking Cyborg. Is he's like, oh, he's an alien. I have to racially profile him. And yeah, you're green, so you're evil, which means I need to be watching you and possibly kill you at one point. So yeah. And I'm just like, what are you gonna do? You don't have any powers, you don't have any weapons.
And he comes in and warns them, which is I find hilarious. He tells his butler, "No, no, Cliff. That's Cliff. He's good people." And I'm like, "Oh my god, dude, you're just awesome. You don't care." And it's so funny. And the butler ends up being the one that is loyal to the cause. They get
And
the
kills everybody.
instructions, and he kills everybody. And I hope we revisit him at some point. I hope we get some revenge on him. But that's a pretty crazy way to close the episode.
Yeah, and that's where Michelle Gomez comes out again, Madame Rouge, where she is, and we saw this at the end of the first episode. She is able to kind of use the same kind of power that that Rita can, and shapeshift her face, and she can turn into different people. She can shapeshift, which also, by the way, just want to say this. We got a gorilla in Doom Patrol before we got a gorilla in Titans. Just saying that. Just wanted to let everybody know that we got a gorilla in Doom Patrol before we got a gorilla in Titans. So,
Not wrong. Not wrong. And it's true. And that gorilla had a top hat.
yeah. So, we we see Michelle Gomez's character, Madame Rouge, turn into that actress at the very end of episode 1. Then we see her as Rita at the end of episode 2 when she kind of closes Rita back into the room where they are all dead. They legitimately died. And well, what is it called in Princess Bride? They are mostly dead. You know, that's basically what it is that they're mostly dead, because they do come back in episode 3, which is um Dead Patrol, which is the introduction to the Dead Boy detectives. I really enjoyed this episode. We got to see Danny the Street a lot in these 3 episodes as well. Glad to see that he is okay, because remember, uh, he was broken for a bit and we thought he was dead. But of course, now he has disguised himself as an ambulance. Really, really fun uh, seeing the Dead Boy detectives and like the very morbid way that Larry finds out that everybody is dead. He gets 4 packages with their bodies basically just like jumbled in these boxes. Robot Man was in pieces, and to, I guess, calm his sense of sanity, he decides to wrap them all up just like him. He is going through a lot right now also.
Yeah, he lost the negative spirit. We didn't really speak about that. The negative spirit left him. For now, anyway.
I think he will come back. I
Yes,
definitely think that he will.
but he's
Uh
all alone. Chief is dead. He knows Chief is dead,
yeah.
and he finds out all his friends are dead, and he's pretty devastated. He's clearly not coping with it well. Having all them bandaged up and sitting them at the dinner table. I love how Dorothy comes in and he's completely like,
It's like,
yeah, I can
"Hi."
see.
He's like,
He's like,
"Hey, I got some good news that's not really good news. It's more on the bad news side, but we can fix it."
he's like, yeah, yay, mass burial kind of deal. And then when she's talking to him, he's like, yeah, actually, I can see from another set of eyes how weird this would look. Yeah, yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I understand. I'm just like, Larry, you're awesome.
he I It pains me to see how much I feel like he gets hurt the most in every single season and almost every single episode. Mainly because I feel like when he gets hurt compared to everybody else, it's so personal. It
Yeah,
is
with that
so
story arc he
personal.
had last season, it was such a gut punch several times.
Yeah.
And we're not. He's done focusing on him. He's kind of dealt with his past, and now the negative spirit is there. Now he's basically lost at
Yeah.
this point, and I love that. Like I said, Dorothy comes in, but she realizes how do they realize that they're in the, we'll call it purgatory. I'm trying to remember. It's not the bowl. It's not Larry seeing.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah,
He sees Rita in the pancake batter and he's like, "I swear to God I saw her." And then Dorothy's like, "Well, then they need our help." And
and she calls the dead boys.
that's when she gets Danny to the street to recommend
Yeah.
the Dead Boy detectives. They come in. We get the whole origin background on them, and they're like, basically, we can go down to hell, whatever it is, purgatory, whatever, and get them back. And this is when we get the individual stories of how Rita, Cliff, Jane, and Vic are all on their way to their paradise. Everybody has like their own individual heaven. Cliff meets his dad. Vic uh, has a moment with his mother. Rita, I forgot what Rita was. How did she wake up? I completely forgot what hers was. She just woke up, right? She was the first to wake up.
She was taken.
Well, no,
Both.
like because I'm
Yeah.
trying to remember. She just randomly woke up.
She didn't. She was like she was the waking up like the listeners, kind of like the audience. She was. We saw it
Okay,
from her eyes. She
yeah,
woke up and we saw the
and
situation,
then Jane was with Kay and her grandmother.
which was the one of the more emotional ones. I love the grandmother aspect
I
of that.
I love that entire scene because let's go ahead and just talk about her for a second. You know, J- we found out that Jane is basically the memory of Kay's grandmother.
Yeah,
And you see how important Kay's grandmother is to her when she finally sees her. They have like the moment of like eating and dancing and singing together. And you very much see the relationship that they had when they were both alive. Uh, so when you get the story of uh Kay's grandmother basically saying like, "Hey, so what are y'all gonna do now?" And Jane's like, "We're gonna stay here with you. Like, I think this is the best thing for her, and we'll protect her, and we'll live happily ever after." And her grandmother says, "Well, that's impossible. You can't do it. We each have to move forward with our lives, and you're just not there yet. You need to move forward." This is also where we're getting moments uh in the real world with Dorothy. And I can't remember the girl's name.
Crystal,
Crystal. Crystal is the one that is basically the psychic, the medium, that is able to like
the living,
the living.
the one living person out of the
Oh
three.
yeah, she's the one living person out of the dead boy detective
She was
trio
possessed by a spirit,
for
and
like
the dead,
over a year, I think is
yeah,
what she said. Yeah.
and the dead boys were the ones that saved her.
Yeah. And uh Dorothy basically grabs like possessions of every single character: Cliff, Vic, Jane, and Rita. And they're like, hey, if you can if you can reach Rita, then you can reach all of them. And we get like small little instances whenever a character grabs on to one of those items that is like they're in their heaven or whatever. That's when they start to wake up.
Yeah.
um and you get that with everybody. You said that you enjoyed Vic's story
I
and with
enjoyed
his
Vic
mother.
talking to his mother. I thought that was great. She alludes to his father choosing to make him into a weapon,
Yeah.
which I hope we get more touched on with that. But even thinking about it now, Clay, I really enjoyed Cliff with his father as well. I thought his father was really good, especially like shining some light, saying like, "No, like while you were gone, I mended my relationship with your daughter. Like she kind of really enjoyed her grandfather." And he being super pissed, like I'm gonna be a better grandfather than you.
Yeah, and I still feel like that one was more for the laughs rather than being like super sentimental. Like I know what it does for Cliff moving forward because we had a moment in the second episode where the big problem with Cliff this season is the fact that he is dying.
well,
Um
yeah, or Parkinson's kind
he
of is what
he
they hinted
basically
at.
has Parkinson's, yeah.
Yeah, that's what they hinted at.
Um, and he is afraid to look at it because the only person that was able to fix him every single time something was wrong was Chief, and he's no longer there to fix him.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see how that is going to be going because there's a moment in the comics, newer, not necessarily older Silver Age stuff, but newer. There's a moment where, for a time, Cliff actually gets his body back. I
Ooh.
don't know if they will do that in this show. Seeing Brendan uh, uh, Fraser, sorry, because that's how his name is pronounced. I've seen that TikTok so many times where he's like, "If you say Fraser, I will find you." So funny. But I'm excited to see what each of these characters will have going forward as far as their stories. Um,
Question. Dead Boys. Did you like them? Which one was your favorite? What was some of your best moments from them in this episode?
I can't remember their names. Do you remember their names?
Charles and Edwin.
Okay, Edwin is the one that kept on using the bat,
No,
and
that's Charles.
that's Charles.
Yeah.
Okay,
Edwin was
then
the one that was scared of going back there because he's the only one that's actually been like
I
technically
think
dead.
I think I don't know. I don't know. They both had good scenes. I like the connection that Edwin and Larry made, with them both being gay.
Yeah.
Him, Larry having a little bit more experience in that, and having the trauma of having to deal with, you know, being married while gay and having three children and all of that, and having to keep it a secret and all of that. Like, it's almost like, hey, you're dead anyway. What else could happen in that instance? But even Edwin was like, thank you for your concern. We'll deal with it when we have the time, basically.
Yeah.
But even the ongoing joke of Charles grabbing the bat every single time, and we finally get an explanation. He's like, we're in the States. This is an American thing, so I'm gonna keep grabbing this bat.
And we get an
Um,
even better explanation when he goes to use it on the villain of the episode because it lights up blue and gives quite a smack to the villain. And I'm like, okay, so
yes.
that's not your typical
So
bat.
I loved the villain in this episode. I looked up the character that she played. Let me go back here. She played, oh my goodness,
Night Nurse?
the night nurse. This is Ruth Connell. She is, of course, uh, very famously known for Supernatural. I was so excited when I heard, because you hear her voice first before you actually see her. I immediately knew who it was. Really excited to see that she was a part of this. She's only in this one episode. She's not going to be moving forward with the season at all. But just to see her in there was really, really fun. So I know that Katie is a fellow Supernatural buff. So I'm sure she will be super excited, or she is super excited about this show, and that'll make her even more excited about it. But yeah, I love the Dead Boy Detectives. I'm excited to see what kind of show comes out of this backdoor pilot. Again, if I will be upset though if the Dead Boy Detectives don't reconnect with the Doom Patrol.
I figure they probably will by the end of the season because Dorothy's gone with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason why is the Doom Patrol was a backdoor pilot with Titans, and then we never saw them again.
Yeah.
We were supposedly supposed to see them in the finale of the first season, but then that got chopped and edited and changed. But I want there to be some connectivity with these shows. I want there to be a universe.
I think we will see them again just because of what happens in the end. After Dorothy leaves with them, we see Willoughby Kipling uh, take the head of Niles, just the head. It was really dark when I was watching it.
That was the end of the was that not the end of the first episode?
Yeah, I'm just saying, like we saw that earlier, and
Oh
his
yeah, yeah, yeah.
ghost kind
Because
of
because
disappeared.
also
So
also Dorothy was like talking a whole lot with Crystal
yeah,
about her father, and like she even had like a Willy Wonka bar, like trying to see if she would connect to her father.
and Crystal
Um,
said something like, "If like who cares? It's like if you got it, just try it, even if people say like it won't work." I kind
yeah,
of kind of like the connection they made.
yeah, yeah. I would actually be okay with Dorothy not showing up all the time, but if she was a part of the Dead Boy Detective series, I think that would be kind of fun.
Same.
Uh,
That's what I
I
was going to ask you. Do you think she's going to be with them, or do you think she'll come back at the end of the
I think
season?
I think she will come back. I Again, if she has like a small cameo in the Dead Boy Detectives, I think that'll be fine. I don't want her to be like throughout the whole thing though. Is my thing.
We're getting Futurama style Chief's head in some sort of like thing that's happening. It's just well for us to accept that. Uh, Clay, what did you think of the 3 episodes overall? Because I thought, especially after the third one, I was really excited. I couldn't wait to see the fourth episode, which I hear is something kind of like zombies. So
Overall, I really enjoyed it. The cliffhanger for episode 3 was Michelle Gomez's character just walking into their house and was
yeah,
like, "Hey, what's up, guys?" Already acting like she's just one of them. Um, I'm excited to see like what is going on. Like I
I
I
think it's
want
time travel,
answers.
but it could be. It could be a
I don't
whole
know.
lot of
Like
anything. She
I
asked the
thought
year
about
when
it.
she showed up the first time, like, what year it is.
I thought about time travel as well, and then I'm like, wait, is that really supposed to be Rita or like what's going
Maybe
on?
that could be Rita with total mastery of her powers, where she can take on faces of other people, and
I hope
she's
so.
doing it with
Well, like
ease.
in the comics, Rita's character, in Golden Age when they were first created, she had basically the powers of Miss Marvel. She would go giant, or Ant-Man, she would go really, really big and then really, really small for certain
I
adventures
don't. I
that they
think
would go
pretty
on.
sure she's part of the Brotherhood of Evil, or she was. I don't know if she still is.
Uh Madame
'Cause
Rouge,
yeah,
or
Madame Rouge. I thought I saw a list of. I remember looking up
she
Brotherhood of
might
Evil
be.
last year, and I thought I saw her on the list of like members, but
Okay.
that was a long time ago. Clay, I think probably that's all we have for Doom Patrol, and we're gonna take another break to
Talk
before
about
we tackle
Titans.
these tackle Titans and
Ugh.
Star.
Oh yeah, Titans and Stargirl. Holy crap, we have a giant episode for you guys.
Yes.
But yeah, let's go ahead and take that ad break right now. And we are back. So, what do you want to go with? Yeah, I feel like we should rip the band-aid off. We should rip the band-aid off now and then talk Stargirl to end the show.
Yeah, but let's be in a good mood because listeners, we're going to talk about Titans episode 209, Souls, and
Okay, I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say something. This episode is 75% the best episode to come out of all of Titans.
I don't know if I can say all of Titans because there's some solid Deathstroke content that was
Okay,
very
season 3.
masterful. But yes, I will agree
Season
with
3.
season three. Yeah, 100%.
75% of this episode is the best of all of season 3.
The purgatory stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
Which is ironic because this episode and the episode that we just talked about on Doom Patrol, both dealing with purgatory.
Yes, both doing it great too. Different ways, both great.
Yes, the train, the idea of the train sending them off to like their own heaven, really solid idea.
That's in a lot of different, like I've seen that in a lot of
Yeah,
different fiction. That
it's a trope, but they
yeah,
played it
but
well.
it's a very good show. Yeah.
The idea that Donna was on the train because she was still fighting the idea of like really being dead.
Well, we
And
also have the people in Themyscira actually doing chants and that to try and like
to
bring her
bring her
back. So
back.
maybe that's helping her not go off into the.
Everything in the mascara, I absolutely hated. It was garbage. I hated the depiction of the mascara. I hated the people in the mascara. I hated Raven in the mascara. Like that entire part of the episode needed to burn. They needed to destroy the digital aspect of the film that they showed. Like it was just a waste of time.
I could have enjoyed it more maybe if Raven would have went into the afterlife after Donna. Maybe I could have enjoyed it more. Maybe her showing like, yeah, I can use my powers and going in and actually getting them out. But
They treated the mascara like Richard Donner treated Krypton.
no, I wouldn't go that extreme.
The council, the judge, like it was like the Amazons were just all like in their robes, quiet, not like, and they were talking weird. They're like, oh, statement, answer, question. Like, what was all that about? Like,
There was a way. That's kind of a way military. That's kind of a military style, Clay. So I can.
what military?
I like it's a command. Yes, sir. No, sir. Like kind of deal. It's
Okay, but they don't Inquisition, like they were saying all sorts of stupid stuff. Like they were treating them more alien than anything. And I just think it was a waste of time. Like it was
I that
so
stuff didn't
boring.
bother me more so than that. This is the first time we're seeing Raven and Donna, and this we're in the ninth episode of the season. There's only 13 episodes of the season, so uh, that was a weird for me. Like I kind of checked out of that part, and like we talked about the
I just like, of course I feel like any guess would have been that guess, but I guessed it right whenever, because Titans on Twitter was like, "Oh, I have to change the profile pic for next episode or whatever," and I shared it with you guys. I'm like, "Oh, this is clearly the episode where Raven and Donna are gonna be," and it was.
well,
Um,
they did a promo video
oh,
of
I
the
didn't watch the
yeah,
promo
but
video,
that
so
they had it. They weren't hiding it or anything. That kind of deal. so
No,
that it would make
I
sense
just
if they
I
would
just saw it and I
release
was like,
that.
oh, it's like
They try to
black
do
and
they're trying to do
white.
the what if thing, and, we had a question from Tony for Doom Patrol, but it kinda works here as well. Uh, he asked
Why are
why
more
isn't more
people
talked
not
about?
talking about Doom Patrol?
And it can
Because
be
WB doesn't know how to promote their
it's not
shows.
even that, Clay. You can go on even for What If, and you have episodes from heavy spoilers. You have episodes from new rock stars diving deep into everything and anything in the episode, Easter eggs, little storylines going forward. You get none of that with any of the DC shows. You don't get it with any DCCW shows. You don't get it with any of the HBO Max shows. I gotta say, like even Doom Patrol. So just to see it's just covered more. I don't understand. I can understand why because it's all connected in the Marvel one and it's all part of one bigger picture. So maybe that's why, but it's still kind of sad that it's not talked about as much. I enjoy Doom Patrol, but Doom Patrol is kind of I don't know. It's not a mainstream show to me.
It's a wacky and out
Yeah,
there show, because there was even somebody who responded to him saying that, like, oh, I recommended to so many people and they can't get past the first episode, saying that
yeah,
it's too weird. I understand that. Um, and I'm not going to say it's like, oh, it's like Doctor Who. It's nothing like that. I just think that Doom Patrol is a niche audience. Um, and it's not going to be for everybody. That's one of the main answers that I have for Tony. Um, if you're not a DC fan, you're not gonna want to watch Doom Patrol, uh, just because it is out there. It is weird, um,
and I guess I
and
kind
it's
of
only getting weirder. You
and
know.
I kind of imply for the Titans just that we don't have anybody digging deep into Easter eggs, or I feel like there should be more of a social media buzz, but we don't get that. Maybe it's because HBO Max is just US only, whereas if you do a video on a Disney Plus show, that's worldwide. Everyone in the world's looking for it, so maybe that's the reason why as well. So, uh,
Yeah, that could play a huge part of it as well.
but we'll get back into the episode, and I gotta say, let's just get back into the purgatory part that I really loved.
The
I
return
of Hank,
of Hank.
and it was amazing. First off, Tim, we got to talk with Tim. He gets freaked out on the train. In the last episode, he gets shot in the back from
He
that.
doesn't have any memories when
Yeah, well,
he
he
comes into
starts to. He
purgatory.
doesn't remember it at at the moment, but even Hank says you'll remember it. Like you'll come to in a while. But he gets freaked out, jumped off the train, and Donna goes after him to help him right away without even thinking, and then they run into Hank in the car, and I love it. I love the back and forth that Hank and Donna are having in the car while Tim's asleep, and Donna's like, "Oh my, this is my favorite line of the episode, maybe favorite line of the season." Donna's like, "Oh my God, Hank!" After he tells her why, he says, "Jason Todd, little shit, blew me up." I love that she's like, Donna must be devastated. And Hank looks over and it's like, she better be. I
But
busted out
yeah.
laughing. I busted laughing at that, and that didn't happen very
Well,
often
like,
this season.
so the whole purgatory thing, I really enjoyed it. I actually think Titans made fun of themselves in this episode, with Donna's death.
Yeah,
She makes a comment about dying at a carnival. Um, I do have one problem with this part of, well, two things that I want to say. This is the HBO Max show. The budget is pretty large. Why are these ghouls guys in hoodies? Why? Like, this is purgatory. This is like supernatural. This is like you're on your way to either hell or heaven, and you have guys in hoodies coming after you. Like, it,
didn't bother me.
I felt like they could have done a little bit more. They could have make it a little bit scarier. Go a little bit more towards freaking Dementor. Go Harry Potter with it. Like, instead of, oh, it's just this guy in a hood. Like,
Well, then you're kind of limiting to only Donna being able to fight them as
no,
much if they're flying around when Hank is just a I
no,
know
you
everything you can think of everything there, but he still doesn't really
but
understand how
see,
everything works.
that is also the problem that I have with it. So there's this one line that after the fact, because there's a moment where, like, all of a sudden Hank has two guns and he's shooting everybody up. But then they get back in the car and they start driving. And he's like, okay, don't laugh. It's going to sound crazy, but I've been getting into my spiritual side once I'm in here. And then they start laughing. That has no relevance to the show and to the instance of what actually happens with him going, quote unquote, going into his spiritual side whatsoever. Like, he doesn't make any comments about his spiritual self in the aspect of like, oh, I just thought about it and it happened. Like, they didn't elaborate on it and it didn't move anything forward. Like, I just felt like that part in particular was like just to fill the void of conversation of like, oh, my spiritual self, I was able to think really hard and I had guns in my hand. Like, the idea of, hey, I just thought really hard and I had guns in my head would have made more sense than, oh, I've been really getting deep into my spiritual self and then I was able to do it.
I think he was just talking about him in that plane, like him in that on that world. Maybe it's not the best choice of words, but I just thought he was talking about, yeah, like I've just been here. Like
I know,
yeah.
but like I said, it had no relevance because at
Well,
the
we
end,
don't know how long we don't know what how time is even perceived here,
but
Clay. So
that's what I'm saying is he acts as though like, hey, because I've been able to get in touch with my spiritual self, this is what happened. And then they play on it again and nothing is working. You know? So the writing is acting as though this is something that has happened before, but it isn't. But then they play it as though it's like it's going on the fritz or it's glitching. Like,
no,
the
I didn't get
writing
that at
isn't
all.
necessarily matching what
I didn't
they are
get that at
making their
all.
characters say.
I just got what he even explains. He's not quite sure how it works yet. He says that. So him hauling out different things and not realizing how it works, not really on the fritz for me. It's just he still doesn't understand how it works. He says that multiple times.
But he doesn't say that. He doesn't
He
say,
does.
"Oh, I don't know how it
He
works."
does say exactly, I don't know how it works. He does say that when they're driving. He says,
I didn't hear that.
yeah, he says,
Um,
I'm not sure how all this works.
well, I think it's a little silly that he goes through nunchucks,
Well, that's a call to
Robin Angs, and then
the nunchucks are a callback to he was
he was
Michelangelo
yeah,
in the Ninja Turtles. Yeah.
he was Raphael, not
Yeah,
Michelangelo.
sorry.
Uh,
But he was a Ninja Turtle. That was a callback for that.
but why is he having all of these mishaps and then Donna is able to pull everything
Because
that
he's
she wants?
Hank.
It didn't make
He's
any
always
sense to me.
why did he go off on his own and to Jason and strip down naked and swim over? Because he's Hank. He's not exactly this like the smartest or best tool in the shed. If we're
But
not going to
if
poke
he
holes in this part when we got the gigantic,
oh no,
terrible
there
poop
I can't
secta at the
I
end here,
can't
and
get
you're here
over
poking holes at this one little thing. We're gonna
it
take
was
30 minutes to talk about this big hole if we're talking about this for 10.
well no, I'm just saying there was a lot of good in this episode, and then of course the ending was bad. All of Themyscira
The
and
ending
Raven
was
was bad.
terrible. The ending wasn't even bad. That's not enough for it. That's not enough.
It doesn't make sense. And again, I'm saying it felt like, hey, let's take our time throughout this episode. Oh, wait, time crunch. They really want us to turn in the script. Oh, Hank is really silly at the end, and this starts to happen, and we'll end it like this. That's what it felt like.
No, we're usually no, you're poo-pooing on the purgatory stuff way too much, Clay.
No,
Way too much.
no,
It was
because
solid as hell. It was the best
it was
part of the
solid.
whole
It
season.
was solid
And you're here picking
until
apart
the
words and
very end.
lines.
It
No,
was
no, even that stuff was good. Hank couldn't go. Hank couldn't go with him because he didn't have a body. That's the best thing about the whole thing. There
well.
was
I
no
don't.
chance for him to go.
No.
When
I'm
he
not.
looks back, into them aren't
I
with him anymore.
I wanted him to sacrifice himself. I
No,
didn't
but
want him
Clay,
to come back.
when he looks back after they're both gone, he doesn't see a place to leave anymore because he can't leave because he doesn't have a body like the two of them.
I'm not saying that I wanted him to come back to life. I'm just saying the writing turned really silly and made no sense near
What
that end.
that one part you're talking about with the imagination thing is what you were stuck on, but I don't think that like that ending with his brother was fantastic.
Oh, I feel like that was a little shoehorned, but it felt nice. It really it did. Like to see that his brother was back, and because his brother was like, "Oh well, I know there's a lot of people down here and they need help," and so you're like, "Okay, at least he has something there, right?"
Well, what I got from that was he was his brother has spent the entire time since he was killed doing
Well,
this
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, of course, because he's
And I
there.
thought that was wicked. So now we have a supernatural type Hawk and Dove going around in the afterlife helping people out. Uh, I, I I just love the implication for that. I like them sending off Hank like this because he was probably my favorite character of the past couple seasons. He's probably been the most consistent character, uh, true to his character self. But I, I I didn't hate this part, but I was every part of this was ruined for me with the ending of Bruce Wayne
So
sending his butler off.
before we get there, hold on. We get a glimpse at this in the very beginning. Bruce is at this mansion, don't know where. That is very important. We do not know where this mansion
I don't
is.
know,
All
that
we
was
know,
somewhere. Nobody,
all,
nobody knows. There's no hint from any
all we
character in
know,
this season.
all we know is that it's on a giant cliff in somewhere that's next to water. The next thing you see is him signing his will and testament, giving it to somebody that clearly is under his payroll.
Alfred,
Alfred 2.0,
or dollar store version of Alfred.
basically. So then at the very end, we see Tim and Donna start to come back to life. We see Tim go first. He starts to get weak at the knees. He is dying all over again, basically, because he feels the pain of the gunshot. He wakes up in the hospital. Then we move to Raven. She, her whole story is useless. We don't need to talk about it.
Agreed.
The
Agreed.
only important thing is that she senses Donna,
And
and
she's
then
terrible at Legos.
she yeah, she is horrible at Legos.
Yeah.
She goes to the chamber in which Donna's body was, and Donna's body is not there. Then we see Bruce throwing gasoline all over his feet, all over the room. And then the next thing you know, it's on fire. And he is collapsed.
He's given
He
up, avoided all his
smoke
problems.
smoke is everywhere. And then if you look closely in the background, you see Donna just speeding towards him. And she grabs him and she's like, Bruce, come on. And like she picks him up, puts him on the couch. She's like, am I dead? And she's like, no. And he's like, well, you are. And she's like, oh, well, not anymore. And the episode ends. So, how did Donna know that Bruce was in trouble?
That's the only question you have? I have like 7. How did Donna know Bruce was in trouble? How did Donna get there in that quick a time? Does Donna know how to fly now? Where did she
We
hear
know
about
that
Bruce
Donna
being
has
in that
super speed.
situation? Why did she not tell anybody from Themyscira that she had woken up? Um, is Raven completely useless? Like, can she not even be there when Donna wakes up?
So
So
I want to bring this up. I want to bring this up because we had a small conversation about it in the GUA chat. Um, Raven as a character in it came about with, I think it was Brent made a comment about
Brent's
Raven,
been making this comment since Titans was announced.
and he was just like, I'm not a big fan of Raven. And I made the comment, and the reason why majority of people are not big fans of Raven is you can look at Raven in cartoons, in comics, in animated movies, and in live action TV shows. She is the exact same paper copy, freaking copy paste on almost everything except for Titans Go.
Oh, one other thing. The Titans Earth One book we read,
Okay,
she's not doomy and gloomy, she's
she
more
is not a
upbeat.
carbon she is not a
Yeah.
carbon
She
copy
has those
there.
powers, but she's more her personality is completely different in that
Her
book. Like she
personality is different. Okay,
it's
so
not like
that
Eeyore. It's not an Eeyore.
she's different there, but that book did not sell well. A
No.
lot of people don't know about that reiteration of Raven to begin with. So just with the ones that are more popular, copy paste in almost every aspect. No one has taken the Raven character and said, "Hey, I want to do something different so that way people can feel more connected to her." The only way people connect to Raven is through other people that are attached to Raven. Beast Boy in Teen Titans, the animated show, they had like a romance. People loved the romance there. They
Did they
enjoyed
have a
the
romance?
it was
I thought it was
a
him and Tara.
it was it was like a what do you call it? Not a thruple, but basically like he
What Teen Titans were you watching? And what Teen
no,
Titans was I
there
watching
was
growing up?
they kind of tease at the fact that like of course yeah he was in a romantic relationship with Tara, and then once she was gone they moved towards the idea of him and Raven being together.
Besides the very last episode.
Yeah. Um but I unfortunately Raven just like she there's nothing there that's like, oh yeah, I love Raven because of this, you know? Um, and I think,
You could do the Trigon thing, but he's never really done good to make like that could be a compelling element to Raven, but
but
he's
they already
always
did that.
yeah, it's
There,
not but they haven't done it good in my opinion, Clay. They haven't done it really truly great. Like
but that's
it's
what I mean.
more
That's
he's just a vessel, like a big monster they can beat up instead of like actually looking at how scary he could be. Kind of like Eclipso in Stargirl when we
no,
talk
I
about
know,
him.
but that's what I mean.
Yeah.
They've done the Trigun story in the animated show. They've done the Trigun story in the animated movie, and they've done Trigun in this Titans in season one.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And they keep playing the same thing over and
Over and
over in
over.
every medium that she's a part of, and it doesn't stick. So that is why, you know, people have now seen, oh, you're just going to go through like they have a checklist for Raven, and they're like, oh, we have to do this, we have to do this, we have to do this, we have to do this. We know the checklist already. I want to see something that's not on the checklist.
Yeah, and
So
then you
that
you
way
you
I
ask that for this group of people in the writing, and then you get uh, Bruce Wayne doing something we've never seen before, which is giving up and setting his whole place afire and basically trying to commit suicide. So yeah,
well
if we ask
that
for stuff
again,
that we
see,
don't want to see,
I feel like Snell loves it
no, he
because
does not. He put into the chat the other day, caught up on Titans. Ooh, not good.
okay.
So
Well, I think it does go with the whole idea of his mental state of him being like, oh,
oh,
because
you know
well,
what happens
it's
there,
the
Clay? No, you know what happens there in the comics? And while you bring Tim in from the whole start, is he's the one that helps Batman get over this. He's the one that helps.
I know, but he hasn't met Tim yet, and
I
that's
know
the
you have it,
idea.
and we're on episode 9. God dang it! And
This
like,
isn't a Batman show.
no, but you set up Batman and make him a key element of the season. Then you got to pay off at some point. You can't just have him. Okay, let me just light myself on fire and get rid of another
But this
character
is
from the
also
show.
Titans. This is also WB. This is also
Yeah,
HBO
and you're
Max.
asking
Like,
for seeing different stuff of Raven. You think they would
no,
do something different and cool with Raven?
oh, which totally reminds me. Thank you. Thank you. I have been wanting to bring this up for about 2 weeks now since I found this, or I didn't find this. It was Snell that found this on one of the comments of one of our videos. Says here there is somebody named EDD or ED Day is the commenter. He says Clay is uh What does he say? He says Clay isn't PN''T. What does that mean?
I don't even know.
Oh, Clay isn't doing a review of the show. He's doing a review of his assumption and then getting mad because he doesn't like what he came up with. I like what I come up with. I don't like what the show comes up
I
with.
think he meant what you don't like what the show comes up with.
Okay,
You're
okay.
putting your
As mad as you are that they haven't told you she's Batgirl, they already haven't told you she wasn't. You just decided that's what you believe. I know I'm a little behind and uh
things.
things I could have been revealed in the next episode, blah blah blah. Okay, so here's the thing about that. Okay. Thank you for commenting on the videos. Anybody and everybody who would like to comment on videos, I need to look more into comments so that way we have feedback. Either way, I just want to say this. That is the whole fucking point of watching shows. It is the conversation that comes along with shows. It says, oh man, this happened. What does that mean? Oh man, does that mean this happens? Does that mean this happens? It's a part of the conversation. If you're telling me that I shouldn't have conversations about the shows that I watch, that's kind of boring. And this
That's
would
not what he's saying. He's saying you're going into an episode assuming this and this and this is going to happen because of your comic background
with
and
the
what you
idea of
expect to happen.
Batgirl,
And when you
with the
don't,
idea
I'm
of
just saying what he said, Clay. He said that next thing. He said when you don't get what you expect, then you're not happy about it. But I
he is
don't think that's
basically
true.
saying that
But that's
I'm looking too much into like between the lines of everything. I will admit, when I don't see anything, when the show does not show me a certain thing, like the idea of being Batgirl, we have not had confirmation of that. So I can assume that she hasn't been Batgirl. This argument is, oh, well, just because they haven't told you she wasn't Batgirl doesn't mean she wasn't Batgirl. Like, we can do it's the what if game. We can what if this to death all over the
she
place
actually
with
says that
every
she worked
episode,
with
with every
she worked
character.
with she actually said that she worked with uh
Batman
Batman
and
and
Jason.
Jason.
And
So I mean that's
I said it could have easily been a time
yeah,
because
that's
of the
Clay. That's
timeline.
looking the stuff to
We
hate on the show for the sake of
no
the
no
show
no.
the show got about 800 more problems that are far more pressing, and that's what the problem is. There's about 100 other problems, and we spent 10 minutes talking about this problem when the whole ending of the show is absolute dog shit. I can't believe we spent 20 minutes talking about this episode. I thought this was going to be a 10-minute in and out because this is absolute. We could talk 5 minutes about how great the Purgatory
Oh.
episode was, 2 minutes about the nonsense of Themyscira, which made no sense and shoehorned in the 9th episode of a 13-episode season, or
See,
we
now
could
you're
focus
looking way
on the
into like
terrible.
the structure of this podcast. Like
No,
that's
I'm just saying that this whole episode gets ruined by the end. It makes no sense. And like we said, there's about 8 things. I don't understand the writers. It makes no sense when you get the problems that you had the last couple seasons. There's no explanation. If there was hints, if I could hear a voice of Bruce Wayne, or if they saw Bruce Wayne, and maybe it shows people that are soon going to come to the other side, and maybe they
see
saw even that.
my co-host of Batman News Weekly kind of thought about that.
But even
If there
that,
was
nothing was there. You had to try to guess. Donna never flew ever in the previous 2 seasons. How the hell did she get there? How the hell did she know about it? There's so many stupid things. And you, like I said, me and you said 75% of this episode is the best that you've seen this season. And I agree with you. And they take a big dump on that because all you can focus on is the end part. And
it's
we
stupid.
wonder.
No, I'm not going to disagree with you.
This
That
show
was
is so frustrating to me. The most frustrating.
well, I mean, yes, I wouldn't say it's
It's the most
well, I
frustrating
mean,
to me because I want it to be so good because I love the characters in like other
oh,
mediums.
it could be a good show. It's just
Yeah.
I don't think that HBO Max cares. I don't think that the production cares too much. They just say, "Hey, these characters are characters that we can play with, and DC fans will like anything that we put out. So let's just do it." Like
Don't
that's
put a, if this is the don't give us a 4th season. I don't want a 4th season. I can't handle it. I've got to that point. I can't. That end of that. I don't care anymore. Like there's no way it can get better. And then even if it does get better, how on earth are you getting through 3 seasons of a rewatch? If the 4th season's
oh
good, How are you going to get through 3 seasons? I don't understand it.
That is great.
We will review the final 3 or 4 episodes, but more than anything, I want the Marvel Alliance guys to suffer with us of the watching of this until the end. So we will, but I don't
That was
know. You're gonna
great.
have to you're gonna have to tell me is like Young Justice, and we're gonna have Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and all their proteges. You're gonna have to tell me that's what the season 4 is for me to watch it. I think, Clay. I don't know if I'm
It
gonna be
wouldn't be
able to watch
Titans
it.
then, and I wouldn't want to watch it.
I'd want to watch anything I'd watch anything that was called Titans that wasn't this actual Titans. So let's hopefully we get a good finale. I'm just gonna say that I would bet no money on that, but let's get into the final episode. Maybe it's like I know it's a good episode.
I'm
Let's
telling
take
you, that's what they did. They spent all of their money and their writing and everything good that they had on the last episode because that's the one thing people criticized them about. It's all gonna be in the last episode of the
I
season.
really hope it's not right because you'll be laughing. You'll be laughing when we get on the record. So,
Oh, it's gonna be so good.
but we'll take our final ad break of the night, listeners. Like I said, give you a quick 3 count for adjust your volume. 3, 2, 1, and we're back. Clay, let's get into some Stargirl because I know that's actually half decent. Today it's really turned a corner. It got a little stale there the first couple episodes of the second season, but I gotta say, besides the titles of the episodes, Summer School Chapter 7, even more Summer School. Obviously, that's not the second part of it, but that's how I'm thinking of these chapters.
I will have to say I'm gonna be the negative Nancy, and
Ooh,
I am the negative Nancy on something that I didn't want to be negative about.
ooh.
Something that I actually was very disappointed in the show. Um, they took a route with Yolanda that I did not want them to take.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Elaborate, please.
so this whole idea of because it is revealed in some capacity, maybe, um, and they play with the idea of Eclipso is still out there. He is still messing with them. He directly uh, is in contact with Yolanda at one point as the little kid. And so it's kind of playing with your head as the audience. Is this really brainwave? Did he really put his consciousness into Yolanda or not? Um, or is it Eclipso? Like they're kind of playing around with that idea. And she has the worst monologue in this show that has ever been monologued in this show. Um, she goes to her friends because, again, we've talked about how we hate ironic or dramatic irony. You know, they're friends; they should be able to talk freely to each other and all of that. This whole secret of killing Brainwave was the secret that Courtney and Yolanda had. They didn't tell anybody else. Well, they finally tell the rest of the group. They tell Rick and they tell oh shoot, I always forget her name. Beth, right?
Negative Nancy.
Uh
Beth.
Beth, yeah. And she is like, I'm the killer. I'm the one that has to kill people now. Um and that is not the route with this conflict that I wanted. Um when it kind of played with your head a little bit and you find out, quote unquote, find out because we still don't know the truth, that brainwave could possibly be hidden in her head. um I kind of wanted, like, the Flash did not play well with like those kind of dramatic irony situations where the villain was always a part of the team, or like how the villain was keeping a secret or whatever. The Flash never really played out well with that trope,
Minus first season.
minus the first season. Or I would even say the second season
Yes, just right.
with
And then they try to
with
duplicate it far too
yeah,
much, where
yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
aha.
I kind of wanted to see where it would go with this.
Ooh, yeah.
Um I really like Yolanda as a character. I felt like she had a lot going for her, and like there was going to be a lot of good conflict. This, like, they threw everything away. I felt like with her character. because she quits. She doesn't want to be Wildcat anymore. And yeah, I know there's probably going to be some episode with, what is this, episode 6? We still have 7 more, I
7
think.
this episode is.
Yeah, this is
Chapter
episode 7.
7. Chapter
Okay.
7.
So we have 6 more episodes. So I'm sure in 3 more episodes she'll come back or something, you
Yeah.
know. But I didn't like the monologue. Oh, what are you gonna do, Rick? Are you gonna be the one to kill him?
I'm gonna
Because
be honest with you, Clay. I'm 100%. I'm bored with you there. I would have rathered her crying and being like, "I don't want to have to kill anybody else. Like, I can't handle what it put me through, what
well,
it's continuing to put me through." But
that
she's
whole
trying to be like,
idea
"I'm the
though.
tough guy. I will be the one that kills for the. I'll be the killer of the." Are you kidding me? You're falling apart. You can't handle.
It
You
it
killed one
was
person,
it
and
was a
you're
really dumb monologue, to be completely
yes.
honest. It did not go well with her character. Um, and then the response that Beth had, the whole
Oh
like,
my god, I wanted to
"Oh, I don't
punch Beth
know.
through my
I don't
TV.
know." Like, what are you even talking about? Like,
I'll give Rick was like, yeah, anyone would have done that. I would have did that if I had the chance. But no, she completely ruined that olive branch that he extended
oh
by.
yeah, no, the whole thing with Solomon Grundy, like they just played as though like everybody knew about that. Like,
But no one didn't. He did
but
that. How did
nobody
she know about it? Yeah,
exactly. It kind of like
fell
broke the
apart a little bit
veil.
there.
It
Yeah,
broke the veil of everything that's been going
of
on
the
in the show
secrets.
that we've been wanting to like elaborate more on. Of course, the next episode is going to play a little bit more with Solomon Grundy, we know.
Yeah,
Um
Clay, I'll back you up. They played a lot of these things like they were secrets.
yeah.
And then we got a not so much. These people kind of knew about it, or they weren't shocked when this stuff was revealed.
And one of the big things with Yolanda, like her keep going, she kept on going back to the church and going back to the church. I felt like there could have been a lot of good storytelling there, and that fell apart really, really quickly. And I understand they want to go on the route of like, oh, she's a minor, she's a child. Like, maybe it wouldn't have been the greatest to kind of have this like for me, whenever I think of like superheroes and Catholicism and churches and everything, I immediately think of Daredevil.
Yeah.
Um, they played well with it in Ben Affleck's Daredevil. Of course, they played with it very well in the Netflix series of Daredevil.
They also play well with it in Man of Steel.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And here, I felt like there was nothing there. There was really nothing there. They immediately throw in they threw in the mother, and
Now,
like,
I will say one thing: the mother kind of, uh, uh, the way she thinks about her daughter, like she does not like her daughter right now, and the choices that she's made. So that can cause her to, like the daughter to not open up or anything like that. I
mhm.
can understand that part, but you are right. They had a lot of meat on this bone, and they didn't really
Yeah.
cultivate it nearly as
And
much.
kind of in the way that I was kind of talking about Rita and Doom Patrol with this, the one constant since episode 1 up until episode 7, Yolanda has kept having these hallucinations, seeing Brainwave, seeing Henry, like like she kept on getting these headaches. I'm just like, okay, we got to move forward with this. We got to keep like we got to
Well, this
move.
this might have like when she touched the staff, we may never see Brainwave again now because that's the implication I got was
But
that the
see,
staff got rid of it.
that also though, we don't know if that was in her head or not.
Yeah, because it could have been Eclipso because we see when the staff is touched by Eclipso, it like goes out. So it very well could have been the fact that when she touched the staff, like the eclipse, with the power, the
No,
hold the
because
Eclipso had over her was broken.
if you remember even that, the whole scene in the church was in her head. Do you remember that? Like
Yeah,
it gets to a point where like everything was normal again.
yeah, but we don't know though. We don't know if it's brainwave. We don't know if it's Eclipso or if it's
Exactly.
like
Like
so.
they
That's
could
what
have
I'm saying.
they still
That
could have played a lot with it, and like
yes,
they kind of ruined that moment or even
but
the
now
progression of that with
that could
what
come
happened.
back now next episode, and she she could be like, I quit and I still hearing these voices. What's going on? So, but you are right. They made it. If they do go back to that, they made an unnecessary detour
Yeah.
that they didn't need to make. So I'm
Mhm.
with you on that. But I did enjoy the uh, Eclipso little kid. I don't know what we're going to call the little kid version. Touching the really nice waitress and making her spill hot water all over that
Oh yeah,
very
that was
big
super creepy.
asshole.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
He's just
Uh
creepy. That little kid is so creepy. Uh, I guess some other quick things. I really enjoyed Mike and Pat working together to try to build Stripe,
oh
and
yeah, and
Courtney.
he is like so here's an odd thing that I want to talk about. We see him touching the diamond.
Yes.
And then Pat says uh the diamond is the only weakness for Eclipso. And let's hope that still is. And I'm like, you just found out that he got hurt by the staff. Like, there needs to
Um,
be
Pat,
like,
there's some stuff Pat knows that we don't know.
yes,
So
yes, that is entirely true.
yeah,
But is like, are they also saying that the diamond itself is bad?
I
Because that's
maybe
what
it.
got Mike all like freaked out and he had hallucinations of his own.
I think it's a thing that can like contain evil energy, but it still like maybe permutates some of it if you touch it. Because that's the same
Yeah.
thing when Eclipso's in the diamond, he still has power to control people.
Yeah.
So I don't know if like it's not like we'll say the magic rice machine in Dragon Ball. Uh,
Yeah.
it's not quite like that. So uh, I'm not sure. We need more explanation of that, Clay, because you're right. You can't just throw that little thing out there and make us feel like if you touch this, you may turn evil or something bad might happen to you. And
Mhm.
they better come back to that. I'm assuming that'll all be filled in when Jay Garrick shows up and talks about what happened when Eclipse
Yeah.
ran to Eclipse before. So gonna hold off on, but it was something that if you're going to devote that much time to it, you better pay it off. You better not pull a Titans. Like you better pay that off.
They
Uh,
still tease that like Shade is still out there.
yeah, we see one little bit of blood, and she kind of sees the mother sees his cloud, his shady cloud, for a second before he's gone again.
Yeah. So he is clearly hurt. I'm sure he'll come back for the finale to help everybody out. But yeah, I mean, other than that, like misstep with Yolanda, I'm still enjoying the show. I hope that Yolanda is not out for the rest of the season.
I
I
don't think
want her
she
to
was.
come
She's too
back.
big of a character. I also really like the Courtney spending time with Icicle's son,
Uh,
Cameron, I think.
Cameron. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I like the little back and forth they have. I'm super interested. We got a little hint of his powers in a couple episodes previously, so
Hmm.
I hope he becomes like on the side of good. But even then, when he finds out that they essentially killed his father, I don't know what he would do. So who knows if he's going to become a super villain? But I'm really interested to see how his story plays out. And they're doing a really good job with him, I'll say, because they're not diving head first because of all the things we have to deal with in this season, but they are sprinkling him in. They're not leaving him for the ninth episode and then trying to like talk about and put him in. They're sprinkling in things right the episodes instead of saying, "Oh, watch 8 episodes." Then remember this storyline that was at the end of the season before. Here's the ninth episode of the season. We're going to start picking up on that. Just another shot at Titans before we take off here tonight. Can't help it. Just mediocre. And I see a lot of love for this on some um people's Twitter, and I'm just like, okay, well, but Stargirl, really love it. Except I hate when we close with that creepy ass kid. That I just don't like it. That
Was
kid
this
is
the
like,
episode where he like walked down the road where he was like
yeah. Well,
laughing?
Beth lies back in the chummy. He's out there out there all creepy, sick, like
Oh yeah,
sucking on a
yeah, yeah, that's
lollipop. And
right.
I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, like I'm sorry. You just like something out of a Freddy Krueger movie. You're that creepy.
I any child in any horror movie, like if that is your selling point in a movie trailer or anything, that is not a Clay movie. I will not
He
watch
is a
it.
part of
Mm-mm.
Children of the Corn,
Yeah.
100%. And
Mm,
I just
Mm-mm.
like,
Mm-mm.
yeah. But I gotta say, I can't wait for to see what happens when Jay Garrick shows up, especially considering he is Wesley Ship, like John
John
Wesley
Wesley
Ship.
Shipp, yeah.
Yeah. So that I wonder if it will connect to the Flash. Will it be that same one? because he's known to travel through different Earths. So,
I think I would say it will.
which will blow my top because it'll be the first time we actually have connecting from Stargirl. I'm not going to count Crisis because that was just a here throw 100 cameos at the wall and try to remember the ones you
Oh,
can.
that's your
So,
favorite episode, Travis. Come
oh
on now.
god. But yeah, Clay, I gotta say, a lot happier for Stargirl and a lot happier for Doom Patrol and a lot happier that we're almost through Titans.
Young Justice is just around the corner for HBO Max. You're going to have a lot of content for superhero discussions. But with that, guys, that is it. We don't have a comics corner yet. We still plan on reading the Batman Wayne Family Adventures.
We'll do it next week when we don't have 3 Doom Patrol episodes.
Yes,
Only
yes.
one. So we'll
Yes.
be back on the comics corner next week.
But with that, guys, thank you so much for lasting this long. It's almost a 2-hour episode with commercials. I'm sure it's well over 2 hours. And we will see you guys next week.
Later, everyone.
See ya.